Welcome to Series 2, Hiring Out Your Campervan. This is Episode 9, Our Worst Hirer. This is a real meaty and tasty one.
A real doozy.
And very similar in a way to Episode 7, which was on issues. Really important that you know the full side of hiring out your campervan, because the money is great, but if anything goes wrong...
That 1% all the time.
That's when you need to make sure you've got your paperwork and your processes in place. So we're going to talk through our first hire from start to finish and how it went.
Here we go.
We're not here, this story isn't to scare you, but it's so that you're informed and you can see what worst case scenario can happen.
So you can be ready and prepared. So
yeah.
strap yourselves in. Here it comes.
Right, first hirer. And actually, this was our fourth hirer.
Ever. In the history of Jurassic Vans. It all started when she said there was a scratch. I mean,
No,
this person...
this person had already had more than 6 points on their license.
Okay, so it started actually during the...
And they had
stage.
6 points on their license. So they had to pay a higher deposit, which in hindsight was a great thing. They had to pay a £2,000 deposit.
That was on the insurers, not us. But they say that's what we got told to do.
And there's a few steps in here. This person asked me if they could pay a lower deposit, and I said it's not my decision. It's the insurance decision.
Mm-hmm.
So they ended up paying £2,000 deposit, and
which should have been the first red flag.
not really, because everyone's got passed. But then actually, if you get a speeding ticket, you can usually do one of those courses.
Sure.
So actually, they've probably already been on a few.
It was my first red flag. Anyway.
Not mine. Yeah.
I was worried anyway, so.
So anyway, they picked up the vehicle, no issues there, and went away in it. And it was maybe first day into their trip. They said the fridge wasn't working. We do check-in videos, so I just repointed them to the check-in video, and it turned out that it was operator error.
Bear in mind, it was heat of summer.
It was a peak of summer, and actually it was slightly operator error. But actually, we'll take some responsibility. We bought a cheap fridge.
Well, it wasn't cheap. It was still a few £100.
It was it was the cheapest, most unbranded, which we won't buy.
But we went on the basis that it is a compressor fridge with the radiator system and fan, and it was actively cooled, not passively cooled.
She hadn't turned it down enough, but also it wasn't a very good fridge.
Yeah.
So we showed her the video, and she was very grateful and thankful. So cool.
Crisis averted. Done. Next
phone call we get, or WhatsApp message she sent me.
WhatsApp message.
So there's a tiny scratch on the van.
Oh yeah. Can you share us a video?
Yeah. So we're there going.
Okay, small scratch, not a problem.
Small scratch.
Just get it repaired.
Couple £100.
Proceeded. Bear in mind, so the scenario was she was pulling out of a car park. She's made contact with a small brick wall, probably axle height, just behind the front wheel, turned into it, and then instead of reversing and then going, she continued to turn into the brick wall. She panicked, kept on turning into the brick wall, which gouged, scratched. There was no perforated metal. Scratched from the back of the front wheel all the way, past the rear wheels to the last hinge, the rear door hinge.
So, almost like a tin opener. The metalwork was damaged but not perforated. All aesthetic damage. But that was quite painful to see on the fourth hire. Anyway, she was apologetic. She admitted fault, so that was great. Brilliant. And we said, look, there's no structural damage, so continue to enjoy your trip. Mm-hmm. We will make contact with our repair companies and we'll get it repaired. Mm-hmm. And this was right at the beginning of July, so... Yeah. The van was booked solid. There was no chance we could get it booked in to get fixed until the end of summer. And so we had to compensate our future hirers with a free add-on. But they were fine about that.
She also, don't know when this actually happened, but she sneakily took it to other body repair shops to try and get them to...
No, she didn't actually. We're jumping ahead.
Sorry.
So she comes back late. About an hour late. Checked on the tracker, she'd left too late. She also came back without the right amount of fuel, so we give it to you full, so you return it full. Another red flag. And then she asked how much it was going to be, and I said, this is a really important point, you don't commit to how much it's going to be. Like, well, I'm going to have to take it to our, fixing place and get a quote from them. And she's like, okay, that's fine. So then we did that, and that's when the difficulty started. Mm-hmm. We got a quote, she thought it was too expensive, so she then called another company, described it, sent them some pictures, and they gave her an estimate, not a quote because they hadn't physically seen it.
That was it.
And then that's when it started getting paid.
She was being shady as well. She didn't tell them that it was a rental vehicle, and you can't get a rental vehicle repaired without the rental company knowing. Well, the rental company in this scenario.
So, yeah. I mean, she probably could have.
Well,
but it wasn't her vehicle to repair. So this is a really important stage. This is where my background in legal understanding and contracts came about really well. So this video is going to be a bit longer because we're going to go into like a full process of this.
Bit of passion behind it almost.
I'm getting like goosebumps. But it's really important. So I then took the vehicle and gave her the quote. She said the quote was too expensive. She then went off on a tangent and said, I'm going to take you to small claims court. Because she didn't like the fact that we were charging her for being late. And she accepted those for being late and underfueled, because I don't believe that I'm insured. Mm-hmm. In the vehicles, we always put an insurance document that says you are insured on this vehicle with a certificate.
All the details. She could even phone that probably.
So I sent that to her, and she said, I can't see anywhere that it says that, which was, I then sent it back to her, highlighted it. She was clutching at straws at this stage. 2 days later, I then receive a parking fine where she's parked and not paid. Mm-hmm. Another 2 days later, I get a speeding fine. So, bump, that gets added onto the bill.
Yep.
Our quote comes back from the repair garage, £1,400. She says that's too expensive. I then take it to two other garages to get quotes for it. And they come back as more expensive to show that we've been reasonable. She also, as it says in the contract, pays for the period for the vehicle to be off hire, and it was going to take 2 or 3 days. Yeah. And that is chargeable at the rate of the most expensive rate, and that's in our contract. So her bill was looking to be about £2,300. She was adamant that she didn't owe this, that we were overcharging her. Her estimate had come in at £800, and we were ripping her off with the bad guys. So then ensued a very stressful... I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It was a very stressful not legal battle, exchange of emails where she wanted to talk to my solicitor. And I said, you don't need to talk to my solicitor. You can talk with me.
We're not there yet.
Because I am confident in my contract, what you have signed, and in the email communication. Now, I wouldn't wish this upon anyone hiring out a vehicle, and it is an extreme case. Yeah. And this is exactly why I put together the course and a specific module on problem resolution.
How to handle this as quickly and as efficiently as possible.
And professionally, because it's really easy to get, as you were in this situation, emotionally involved. We both were.
I don't have contact with customers.
When things are going right, you do, but as soon as things get difficult, it goes to me because of my background in rental property contracts and dealing with things and knowing evidence can be taken against you and whatever you have to say.
Keep it professional, keep it smart.
In our contract, it states that you can't stay outside. Well, it used to state that you can't stay outside of a caravan or camping site. And they did. So that's kind of like the final nail in the coffin when we said, look, you owe us this much money. It's in our account already.
You weren't in the campsite.
You weren't in the campsite. Therefore, you've breached the contract. And by breaching the contract, you're reliable for all of the costs. So we could come at you for the extra £300 rather than take it from the insurance. And she just didn't. Well, and I said, do you accept the terms of this?
It was admitted, but the longer story of that is...
She turned around and said, no, I don't accept those terms. Here's my terms. And they were exactly the same terms.
Copy and pasted the whole email.
Anyway.
Switch the names around on the footer and they go, yes, I accept.
Learning lesson from that, sometimes people feel like they just need to win. But point of the story is she threatened us with them, but we had no negative reviews. She paid for everything. Our time was paid for. Yep. The vehicle was fixed.
Yep, looks actually brand new. And they colour matched it, only for us to then sand it back down to then Raptor. We forgot to sound that
on a part of it. But so... Yeah, and then the next customers were happy. So, the big part of the story is I wanted to show you all sides of what can happen and what can go wrong. But this is a real extreme case.
Yeah, but it was great that all happened. That was all the things that could have gone wrong, but for one person. So you had a good learning curve on one person, as opposed to spread out amongst
loads. That's a really good point. So just to review, we had damage to the vehicle, not filled up, brought back late, speeding ticket, parking fine, trying to take us to small claims court, not accepting responsibility.
Just being difficult as well.
Being difficult, all in one person, rather than spread out over several hires. So that's why I genuinely don't want you to go through that, because when I approached the service providers and the places where we were registered on with our camper van, none of them wanted to help. They just want to take the commission and not be there when it's difficult, and that's where we are different. Yeah. We're here when it gets difficult. So if you come on the Campervan Hire Course, 3 months later, you have a difficult situation, we're going to be here to help you out.
Sorted.
That's
no fuss, no muss.
Yeah, that's what we want to do. We want to help people hire their campervan out, but see the full picture.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the next episode is going to be on Elephant in the Room. Why should I pay you? Because yes, you can just do it all yourself.
You could.
See you there.
See you there, episode 10.